Hi, I'm Flybearing Girl. Welcome to my channel. I've been gone for a minute, now I'm back with the jump off. Hey, Okay, ode to Lil' Kim, one of the greatest living legends, female hip hop rap artist. And so if you get that reference, you get it. So I've just been taking some time off, although I'm not a veteran in this YouTube thing, to really just think a little bit more about the content that I want to create on this channel. When I started the channel, it was just sort of off the cuff. I had had a tough year in 2021 recovering from trauma. So I wanted to simply document how I was caring for myself. Also, I grew a lot in terms of the lessons I learned in relationships. And so I wanted to talk about the ways I had grown and want to aspire to keep growing in my relationships with all the people that I love and care about. So in light of Women's History Month, I want to talk about friendships. So I would consider myself a good friend. I'm always down for whatever. I have this adventure nature. And so I'm the type of friend that you could call up and say, hey, let's do this, and I'll be ready to go. I love that, that I can bring that to my friendships. I would also say that as a friend, I am a good listener. I may not talk to some of my close friends for weeks, but when we catch up, it's as if there was never any time in between, and we're able to just catch up. And that's a quality many of my friends tend to have. And so it makes things very natural. But never ever in my life have I experienced any critique in terms of how I am a friend until very recently, about a month ago. A friend told me, without actually saying the words, that I had sort of fallen off track and I had not been a good friend in the past few years. It was really hard to receive or to hear. We had an opportunity to talk about it. What I discovered was not that I was intentionally being a bad friend, but it was that I was not opening up to this friend whom I considered a sister and one I could confide in. So when she told me about the ways that I have fallen short, it gave me an opportunity to be real with her. And what it ended up doing was it allowed us to bond and to get back to where we were within a short time. And so if your friendships are true, and if there is a reason to hold on to them, then it's best to open up to those friends, especially when you have a history there and there's nostalgia about the ways in which the friendships have been a source of empowerment and love and care and kindness and joy. I know often it can be tricky that we don't want to share all of our issues, and we don't have to share everything that's going on with us. Sometimes we can deal with our battles quietly, but friendships, especially true friendships, they deserve a sense of openness, and they deserve to be a place where you can be vulnerable. To restore the relationship, especially with your friends, apologize for the ways that you have fallen short. When I told my friend I was sorry and I acknowledged the ways that I had not shown up, she didn't have anything to rebuttal. She understood, even in her being upset, or even as she expressed her feelings, which were validated, she still accepted the apology. When you can show up and be there to make up for the times that you haven't, over deliver. So this friend, I had the opportunity to spend a weekend with her, and it was a glorious weekend. And she even went through a crisis while I was there, and I was able to just be there and to tap into some of those qualities that I possess as a friend, which was to listen and just to be present. Friendships, like any relationships, are going to be rocky, but don't be hard on yourself. Just pick up where you left off and try again. And in that process, affirm yourself. I affirm myself because what I have been doing, I needed to do for myself. So two things can be true at the same time. You can be in a place where you are taking care of yourself and dealing with your own trauma, and you can also be closed off because of that trauma. And so once I was able to process that, I knew that I could affirm myself and try to rebuild this relationship. Friendships, even in adulthood, or I would say especially in adulthood, are important. They help to relieve stress and anxiety, and they allow for people to be in your lives during the good times and the bad times. You know, during Women's History Month, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I do think that women do a better job in sustaining close friendships even into their old ages. And so often this dynamic plays out. In a heterosexual relationship, for example, if a male partner was left behind and the female partner died, some studies have shown that the male, if he didn't have meaningful friendships to help sustain him during that loss, it's often that he would depart the earth sooner. But on the opposite, you know, often if a female is left behind, she might be able to sustain and reinvent herself and carry on with the life that she has left because of friendships. When our social needs are unmet, it can lead to a lot of isolation and decline in our health. And so my wish for you is that you evaluate your friendships. In what ways have you been closed off or have not been vulnerable with your friends? In what ways have you created spaces so that vulnerability happens? Who haven't you spoken to in a long time? And when nostalgia hits, it reminds you of the good times. It's also recognizable that some friends are for a season and then they teach you lessons and they go. But the friendships that are worth holding on to, we must hold on to. And so to my ladies, during Women's History Month, let us hold on to those friendships so that we can live long, healthy, and complex lives. Until then, stay fly, and I'll talk to you soon.